Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to solve some sample questions, review questions from chapter 11. This chapter focuses on inflation and how to calculate inflation and understand different types of inflation rates calculated based on GDP deflator and CPI index. So let's start with the first question. The question tests whether you understand how to calculate consumer price index. So if you remember, to find a CPI for any year, the CPI for all years, for instance 2012, you need to calculate cost of basket in the current year. In this case, current year is 2012. And you are going to divide this number by cost of basket in the base year. And base year is 2013. And times 100 is the way that you calculate CPI 2012. So let's start first calculating the cost of basket. In 2012, there are 5 books and the price is $24 times 5 plus $9 per calculators times 10 calculators. And the answer for this one is going to be $210. And in 2013, now the price has changed to $30 times 5 plus price of the calculator is 11 times 10, and the answer is $260. 2014, the same basket costs, given the price is $32 for the books and $12 for calculators, it is equal to 280. So these are the cost of basket. Now given this cost of basket, we can calculate the CPI. Let's calculate CPI first for year 2012. CPI 2012. So I need cost of basket in 2012 divided by base year 260 times 100, and the answer is 80.77. And CPI 2013, we don't need to calculate, it's going to be 100. Always the base year, it's 100. Why? Because current year is 260 divided by base year 260, it's 1 times 100, it's 100. CPI 2014 is equal to CPI in 14, 280 divided by base year times 100. In this case, it's 107.69. So given these results, the right answer is the first one, A, 80.8 in 2012, 100 in 2013, and 107.7 in 2014. For the next question, you need to know how to convert dollar values from different times. Here in this case, you have a candy bar and it costs 5 cents when in 1962. And you know the CPI for 1962. And also you know the CPI today. And the question is asking how to compute the price of the candy bar in today's price. So you are going to take the price in 1962, which is 5 cents. And then you multiply by today's CPI. And then you are going to divide this number by CPI in 1962. This is how you calculate price of candy bar in today's prices. Therefore, the right answer is this one. Now the next question, we are going to apply this formula. In this question, the CPI in 1967 is given. CPI in 1967 is 104 and the price in 1967 is $10. And if the CPI today is 390, then we need to compute how much you need to pay to buy the same goods and services today. So you take $10, multiply by today's CPI and divide by CPI in 1967. And therefore, if you do this calculation, you'll find out that the answer is $37.5. So you need to spend $37.5 to buy the same goods and services that were $10 in 1967. Question 4. Which of the following is the most accurate statement about the effects of quality of change on CPI? So if you read your textbook, you will find out that BLS adjusts the prices for a quality change in the products in the CPI basket. But qualities are still a problem because quality is so hard to measure. Therefore, the right answer is the first one. Question 5. And in this question, again, you have a table, price of a pillow and price of hot dog. And now you are going to find out the change in cost of basket over the years. So in order to answer this question, we need to calculate cost of basket for each year. Let's start with 2009. 2009 pillow is $40 times 2 plus $3 for a hot dog times 15, and that's equal to 125. So this basket costs $125 in 2009. In 2010, pillow price is 45 and the hot dog is 4, and therefore the basket costs $150, the same basket. In 2011, pillow is 50 and hot dogs are $3, and therefore the basket costs $145. So we can say that the cost of basket increased from 2009 to 2010 and it decreased from 2010 to 2011. So let's find out the right answer. Increase from 2009 to 2010, but decrease from 2010 to 11, therefore B is the right answer. Next question. For an imaginary economy, the value of consumer price index was 138.75 in 2016 and the inflation rate was 10% between 2015 and 16. So we need to calculate consumer price index in 2015. So in order to answer this question, we need to know how to calculate inflation. You have the formula in your textbook. Inflation is CPI 2016 minus CPI 2015 divided by CPI 2015 times 100. So inflation is 10%, which means 0.1 in decimal, so I don't need to use the 100 in the formula. And I know CPI in 2016, 138.75 minus, I don't know CPI 2015 and I want to find out, therefore it's X divided by X. So this is now a simple college algebra question. 0.1 times X is equal to 138.75 minus X. And now we can move X to the other side and the sign of the X is going to change. So X plus 0.1X is equal to 138.75. This is 1.1X is equal to 138.75. Now the next thing we need to do is divide both sides by 1.1 and then find the X. And if you do that calculation, you will find out it's 126.1. So therefore, the CPI in 2015 is 126.1. Now the next question. Again, you are given a table and this time you need to find the inflation rate for 2016. Now I'm going to show you a shorter method to calculate inflation. In the previous example, we used consumer price index to calculate inflation. But you can directly calculate inflation by just using cost of basket instead of CPI. So I need cost of basket for 2005 and 2006 to be able to calculate the price change from 2005 to 2006. In 2005, it's $1 per pound times 20 pounds of meat plus $7 times 10 toys, which is equal to $90. Cost of basket is $90. In 2006, $4 times 20 plus $5 times 10. In that case, it's equal to 130. Cost of basket is 130. Now we are going to calculate inflation. Be careful here, I'm not writing the CPI, I'm writing cost of basket. Cost of basket today minus cost of basket in the previous year divided by cost of basket in the previous year times 100. This is how I calculate. And this difference is 40 divided by 90 times 100, and that's equal to 44.4. So this is 44.4%. So the right answer is A. Nate collected Social Security payments of $220 a month in 1985. So 220 a month in 1985. If the price index rose from 90 to 108, so CPI rose from 90 to 108, then what is going to be the Social Security payments for 1986? So we need to find inflation here. This time we are given CPI index, so we can't use the cost of basket. So inflation is equal to CPI in 1986 minus CPI in 1985 divided by CPI in 1985 times 100. We can simplify this formula, okay? We can just write it like this: CPI 1986 divided by CPI 1985 minus 1 times 100. These are the same formulas. You can use both. So I'm going to use the second one. The reason is because it's shorter. So 1986, it's 108 divided by 90 minus 1 times 100. That's what I need to calculate. And given that, you will find that this part is 1.2 minus 1 times 100 will give you 20%. So the inflation is 20%. Now I can calculate the change in the wage because of the increase in inflation. It's going to be 220 times 0.2 or 20% is $44. So it should increase by $44. 220 plus 44. So the new salary should be $264. Question 9. Miss Lane borrowed $1,000 from her bank for 1 year at an interest rate of 10%. During that year, the price level went up by 15%. Which of the following statement is correct? So if you borrow 1,000 today, okay, you borrow 1,000 today, and you're paying back by 10% interest rate, but the prices rose by 15%. That means the purchasing power of dollars are actually lower now. So when you pay back, you are paying back the loan with a lower purchasing power than it originally loaned to her. Therefore, the right answer is B. Miss Lane's prepayment will give bank less purchasing power than it originally loaned to her. Because with the 1,000 and the 10% interest on it, the bank cannot be able to buy the same goods and services next year when the prices rose by 15%. So the minimum rate the bank loaned to her should be 15%. But since it's less than the inflation rate, the bank has dollars with less purchasing power. Question 11. Consider a small economy in which consumers buy only 2 goods, pretzels and cookies. In order to compute the consumer price index for the economy for 2 or more consecutive years, we assume, so the first assumption when you calculate consumer price index, that you're assuming the goods, the amount of goods in the basket is fixed, does not change over the years. So therefore, the right answer is neither the number of pretzels nor the number of cookies bought by the typical consumer changes from one year to another. Let's answer question number 12. Suppose that over the past year, the real interest rate was 5%. So the real rate is 5%. And inflation is 3%. So the real interest rate shows the purchasing power of dollars. How many more goods and services you can buy. And the nominal rate shows how much more dollars you will have in your account after some certain period. So from Fisher equation, we know that real rate is nominal minus inflation. So we know 5 is the real rate, inflation is the 3, so nominal should be 8%. Now we can answer the question. The dollar value of saving increased at 8%. So it's either C or D. And the next thing we need to know is that the purchasing power of savings, which is represented by real rate, and therefore the right answer is D. And the last question. The consumer price index and GDP deflator are 2 alternative measures of the overall price level. Which of the following statements about 2 measures is correct? So you can calculate inflation based on CPI basket, which includes only consumer goods, or GDP basket, which includes all currently produced goods and services in the economy. If you calculate inflation by CPI index, you are only focusing on consumer goods and you're not including any investment goods. You are including foreign goods because consumers are buying imports. But in GDP, you are only focusing on domestic goods because it represents current production. So therefore, we need to find the right answer. The CPI involves a base year, the GDP deflator does not involve. Both of them have a base year, so this is not correct. The CPI can be used to compute the inflation rate. The GDP deflator cannot be used. That's not correct. Both are used. The CPI reflects the prices of goods and services produced domestically. The GDP deflator reflects the price of all goods and services bought by consumer. It should be reversed, right? And CPI reflects a fixed basket of goods and services, and the GDP deflator reflects current production. This is correct. CPI has a fixed basket, but GDP could change from one year to another depending on the number of goods and services produced in a year. So I hope this video is helpful for you to study for your assignment and for your exams. Thank you for watching.